Curtis & Son Funeral Home, long-time fixture in our community. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Visitation for Lucky Northcutt, age 72, of Sylacauga, will be today from 12 until 2 at Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel. Funeral service will follow at 2 with the burial in the Green Hill Memorial Gardens of Childersburg. Online condolences at curtisondsonfunerals.com. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing. Miss Pauline Fields died last night here in Sylacauga. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Elmer Helm of Sylacauga died last night as well. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing that service. Funeral service for Odell Hia will be on Wednesday. Visitation 11 until 1 at the Childersburg Chapel of Curtis & Son Funeral Home. The service will be at 1 o'clock. And burial in the Green Hill Cemetery. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing that service. In other obituary news this morning, celebration of life for Pastor Robert Hatton, age 74, is today at noon from Evergreen Memorial Cemetery in Sylacauga. The Reverend O.C. Blackman officiating. Mr. Hatton died December 28th at Brookwood Medical Center in Birmingham. Community Funeral Home in Sylacauga in charge of those arrangements. That service today at noon from Evergreen Memorial Cemetery. Celebration of life for Pastor Robert Hatton, age 74. Community Funeral Home directing. Mr. Johnny Williamson died January 4th. Funeral arrangements to be announced as well by Community Funeral Home. Celebration of life for Mr. Sal Maxwell, age 58, will be Wednesday at noon from Harper Springs Baptist Church Cemetery with the Reverend Theangelo Perkins officiating. Visitation is today 1 until 7 at Community Funeral Home. Mr. Maxwell died January 1st at UAB Medical Center in Birmingham. Online condolences at communityfuneralhome.org. Community Funeral Home directing. And visitation for Vanessa Wilson will be Saturday, January the 9th from 1 until 4 at Community Funeral Home. Community Funeral Home, Sylacauga directing. Leon Cook, age 81 of Sylacauga, died January 4th at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Arrangements will be announced by Community Funeral Home, Sylacauga. Ronald E. Ronnie Rogers, at funeral service will be, visitation was held yesterday, and the service will be today at 1 o'clock from Calvary Baptist Church in Childersburg. Burial to follow in the Talladega Springs Cemetery. Brother Paul Hickman Jr. Will officiate the service. Brother Joe Kelly will be speaking as well. Radley Smith Funeral Home in Sylacauga directing. In lieu of flowers, contribution can be made in Ronnie's memory to Farm Ministries of Sylacauga. Funeral arrangements for Miss Terry Jordan, age 53 of Talladega, will be announced by S.M. Goodson Funeral Home. Ms. Jordan died on Sunday. Thomas Byron Sanders Sr. Died on January the 2nd at the age of 85. And in lieu of flowers, you may contact the funeral home for directions. And Mr. Saunders died complications from COVID at Russell Medical Center in Alexander City. Radley Funeral Home in Alexander City in charge of the arrangements. This obituary report this morning brought to you by Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremations since 1975. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.